Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to keep the theme going of the holiday season, and I'm going to be sharing another holiday themed recipe. Now, in any Guyanese household, we know what solara is, or red bread. And if you've never heard of solara or red bread, what it basically is a very soft and fluffy dough, and within it is encased a sweet coconut filling. Now, usually it is red because we call it red bread as well sometimes, but in today's video, I'm going to give it a little holiday spin. Now, I just wanted to say that no matter what holiday is, food does not discriminate here. In Guyanese households, or at least my household, we make any type of food, any type of dessert, because for us, food and desserts are celebratory in general. So for Christmas, sometimes we might make solara too. And in today's video, I'm going to be putting my Christmas spin on it. I'm going to be making a red and a green solara.
The first thing that we're going to start by doing is making the dough. And whenever you're making any type of dough, you have to start by blooming your yeast. So in some warm water, I'm going in with 1 cup of water and I'm adding in 1 packet of active dry yeast. You can use the instant version or you can use the regular version. And on top of that, I'm going to be going on with some granulated sugar, and the sugar is going to give something for the yeast to feed off of and for it to activate. We're going to stir it up, I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to let it sit for about 15 minutes until this yeast mixture puffs up and is nice and bubbly. And while I'm waiting for my yeast mixture to activate, I'm going to add in some all-purpose flour into my bowl, and I'm also going to be going in with some salt. This is just going to help round out the flavors of the bread and the sweetness of the coconut inside of it. And I'm going to be going in with some lemon zest. The lemon zest is optional, but trust me, the taste makes it absolutely amazing. And I'm just going to give all of those ingredients a quick mix until everything comes together. And the next thing that I'm going to do is go in with some melted butter. If you don't have butter on hand, you can also use shortening or Crisco. Now, once the butter gets mixed in very well, it is time to go in with that yeast mixture and some added water to bring the dough together. So this is what my yeast mixture looks like after the 15 minutes. It's nice and bubbly. It's almost doubled in size. That's exactly what you want. So I'm going to add all of that in, and I'm going to start to mix my dough. This is not enough water for all of this flour, so you're going to have to keep on streaming in water until you get a very soft and almost tacky/sticky dough. Now, once my dough came together, I went ahead and I kneaded it in my mixer for about 8 to 10 minutes. You want to do that until you get a nice smooth texture and it is no longer sticking to your fingers. Of course, you can do this by hand, it just might take a little bit longer. But all I'm going to do now is make this dough into one single ball, leave it in this bowl, and I'm going to cover it with some plastic wrap or a tea towel, and I'm going to let it rest for about 1 hour to 2 hours or until it doubles in size. And while my bread is rising, it is time to work on the coconut filling. So in my pan here, I'm going to start off by melting some unsalted butter. And into that melted butter, I'm going in with the sweetened coconut flakes. My heat is on a low heat because I do not want this to burn. It is very quick to burn. And a little tip that I have for all of you is that when you buy those sweetened coconut flakes, go ahead and put it in your food processor and pulse it a little bit, so this way you get a finer texture. I'm not a fan of those large coconut shreds, so I grind it a little more, but if you want to leave them whole, you can do that as well. And all I'm going to do is toast this coconut in that butter for about 5 to 6 minutes, or until it gets a little bit golden brown and aromatic. Now, as you all can see, after about 5 to 6 minutes, you're going to see a couple of golden brown bits. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in with my sugar. I'm using half granulated sugar and half demerara or brown sugar. Feel free to use whatever combination you want or whatever type of sugar that you have on hand. And next, I'm going to go in with my flavorings. I'm going to go in with some ginger powder. If you wanted to use freshly grated ginger, feel free to do so as well. And I'm also going to be going in with some freshly grated nutmeg. For me, nutmeg and ginger is the perfect flavor combination when making solara, but if you want to add in any other spices, feel free to do so as well. And once you add in all of your spices, you're just going to stir everything up very well until that sugar melts a little bit. Remember, you do not want to cook this too much, because if you cook it too much, that sugar will crystallize and it will make the red bread very hard in the middle. And I'm also going in with a nice pinch of salt. What the salt is going to do is it's going to help round out all of the sweet flavors, and it's going to bring out the flavors of the dish even more. And the next thing that I'm going to do is add in a little bit of water. This is going to help to bring the mixture together and melt the sugar just slightly. Remember that the sweetened coconut flakes have no moisture in them, so by adding in some water and that butter that we put in the beginning, it's going to add more moisture and make the red bread nice and juicy and moist on the inside. And this right here is a little addition of mine that makes this absolutely amazing. All I'm going in with is a little bit of sweetened condensed milk. By adding this in, it adds another level of richness, another level of juiciness and moistness to this solara. And all I'm going to do now is mix all of these ingredients together until everything is heated through. Remember, again, we're not trying to cook this sugar at all. We just want to heat everything a little bit. So I'm going to turn off my heat at this point because that's all the time it needs to cook. I just want everything to mix together now. And the last thing that I'm adding in is a little bit of vanilla extract. If you have mixed essence on hand or even almond essence, feel free to add that in as well and give it a nice stir. So since I'm making red and green solara, I need to go ahead and separate the mixture into 2 batches. So I took out half of my coconut and I put it into a bowl, and then I left half of the coconut right here in this same pot. And all I'm going to do is color this one in the pot red until I get a nice bright red color. And then the set of coconut that I put into the bowl, I'm going to dye that green. Now, I always like to use the powdered food coloring. I get it at my local Indian store, or you could buy it at some West Indian stores. After an hour of letting my dough rise, it's doubled in size and it is nice and fluffy. So what I need to do now is I need to get it onto my work surface and I need to divide it into 4 dough balls. What's going to happen here is that with this batch of dough, you get 2 nice solara rolls, but being that we're coloring it, I need 2 different layers for each, so that's why I'm dividing it into 4. So the way that you make one of these solara rolls with the different colors in it is you have to take one of your dough balls, one of the 4 dough balls that you made, and you're going to flour your surface well and you're going to roll it out very thin. I like to roll it out to about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch thickness. It should be very thin because you want more layers while it bakes. And once you roll this out, you're going to add in half of the red mixture. Now the reason why we're using half again is because we're going to get 2 solara rolls from this recipe, so you need to reserve half of that red mixture. And on top of that layer that we put the red coconut on, we're going to roll out another piece of our dough, so the second ball of the 4 balls that we have, and we're going to just lay it on top as evenly as possible until everything is covered. And once you get the dough covered all the way to the edges, it is time to layer on half of your green coconut onto this layer of dough. And once you get that green layer evenly spread all over the dough, it is time to roll it up into a tight log. You're basically looking to roll it up like a cinnamon roll almost. And once it comes together, you're going to pinch the sides very, very well. If you wanted to, you could even spread some water on the edges of the dough and then seal it that way. Whatever way you want will work. Now I will mention to you that sometimes my solara does break in the oven and some of the juices tend to flow out. That tends to happen sometimes just because it is so nice and juicy. So make sure you crimp the edges on the sides and the bottom so this way nothing leaks out. Sometimes it will in the oven, but everyone trust me, it's more about the taste than the looks. It's going to come out amazing regardless. So since I made that 1 solara roll, I went ahead and I repeated the process and did it with my other set of dough and the last of the remaining coconut. And all I did was I put them side by side on a baking sheet that I've covered with some parchment paper. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this with a tea towel and I'm going to let it rest for about another 30 minutes to an hour until it almost doubles in size again. And after it sits for that 30 minutes to an hour, before I stick this in the oven, I want to brush it with some water. What the water is going to do is it's going to help give it a nice crust on the outside, and it's going to keep it from drying out too much. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop this into my oven that I've preheated to 350 degrees, and I'm going to bake these for about 20 minutes or until they are beautiful and golden brown on the top. Alright everyone, so after about 20 minutes I pulled these out of the oven. They're beautiful and golden brown. As you all can see, like I mentioned, they were very juicy, so they definitely bursted a little bit in the oven, but trust me, nothing too bad. The taste is not affected at all. And as soon as they come out of the oven, I love to brush them with some butter. All I do is take the stick and I rub it on and it melts right onto it. And once you let these rolls cool a little bit, you can go ahead and cut into them. And as you guys can see, when I'm cutting into them, it's a little bit messy just because they needed to cool a little bit longer. If you let it cool in the fridge overnight, you will get the best results. But once you cut into it, you're going to see that beautiful green layer, you're going to see the beautiful red layer. And honestly, everyone, these were so moist, so juicy, and everything you want with a piece of solara.
And that's it, everyone. If you've seen my regular solara or red bread recipe on my channel, it's the exact same recipe. I just wanted to show you all this little holiday revamp that I did on it. If you all enjoyed the video today, please don't forget to give it a nice big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed yet. All you gotta do is click the red subscribe button and the bell notification icon, and you'll never miss out on any of my newest videos that I put out on my channel. And of course, drop those comments down below and I'll be able to respond to them for you all. I'll see you guys again very soon in another one of my recipes. Bye everyone.